Okay, YouTube, welcome to a special episode with the Flying Phent. This is a direct response to a discussion that was, or a comment that was made on my channel here. It says, "Hi, could you explain how you do the recordings?" And I said I would, so I'm going to right now. I use the Open Broadcaster software. Now, software alone isn't enough to kind of make everything look good. You'll notice in the settings here, and let's look at World of Tanks because that's fairly popular. And if we look at the settings and we come down here to advanced, you notice that the CRF equals 23. Now, there's a whole bunch of setting here, but I'm just going to point this one out. The CRF equals 23. Now, what CRF means, that's a story for a different discussion for a different time. But just to show you, I'm going to grab the EU4 and CRF equals 23. No, CRF equals 18. And other settings are going to vary as well. There's also settings under encoding. There's also specific settings depending on your source and your source type. My settings for Dwarf Fortress monitor capture are different from my EU4 game capture, which is different from my World of Tanks game capture, for example. I have some window capture set as well. So there's a lot of experimenting and a lot of work that goes into kind of tweaking your settings to make sure you're getting the maximum performance for your specific hardware for your recording. So, I mean, it has to be something that your computer can handle to not only do the game and do the audio processing and do the recording, but you want to maximize that as much as possible. And it can take a bit of work and tweaking. So that's the software that I use. The specifics are really going to vary, and unfortunately, I don't have a magic bullet to give you that will answer that question. As for audio, I personally use Adobe Audition to do my audio processing. And this is real-time audio processing. This way I don't have to edit, in post. I don't have to record a video, record audio, mix them together. I record and speak live, and it all gets recorded. And you can see the inputs are blipping up and down here because I am recording live. This does noise reduction. It levels my volume. I do have a hard limiter. There's also some compressing and some equalizing going in to kind of richen the tone, because unfortunately my microphone things seem to sound a little bit tinny. So I do use that. So there you go. OBS, you can get it from obsproject.com. Adobe Audition, of course, you get from adobe.com. I managed to get Adobe Audition through work very cheaply. I know it's very expensive. Not everyone wants to pay that. If you don't, you can go with VST Host, which is free. VST Host by itself isn't going to do anything. You're going to need plugins. The ones that I started with VST Host, I should say, and you can get it here, by the way, from Herman Sieb's website. I started with VST Host, and the plugins that I started with were the Reaper plugins. Now, Reaper, you can get them from reaper.fm/REA plugs. I will point out, though, Reaper makes a digital audio workstation, and this main download button is for their digital audio workstation. If you want the plugins, you actually have to come down here and download the plugins, either the 32 or the 64-bit. There is some discussion of what they do down here and how to configure them. Realistically, though, you're going to probably need a little bit more help. You can go on YouTube and just Google VST Host. You can see I didn't put a space in. YouTube thinks there should be. Not all the videos do. Nonetheless, whether you put a space in or not, you'll get a lot of returns. Better live stream audio tutorial using VST Host. How to make your mic sound professional for free. VST Host tutorial thing. Reaper as live VST Host with SWS live configs. This is using Reaper, the Reaper DAW, as opposed to VST Host. But you get the idea, and you could do that. You could use the Reaper DAW. It's free as well, I believe. So, I mean, there's a lot of alternatives. You don't have to use Adobe Audition. You don't have to use VST Host. You don't have to use Reaper. Even if you're doing plugins, you don't necessarily have to use the Reaper plugins. There are a ton of really good plugins out there. Some free, some not. Now, regardless of which way you do it, whether you use VST Host or Adobe Audition, you're also going to need a virtual audio cable. I got the one from here, vbaudio.jcedevelopment.com. If you just Google virtual audio cable, there's 100 different varieties. The most popular one and the top result on Google is not a free one. It's one that you're supposed to pay for. This one is free, provided you only need 2 cables. If you need more than 2 cables, they want you to pay to get extra cables. But personally, I only use one. I've only ever used one. I don't know. If you're just recording, I don't think you ever would need 2 unless you're doing 2 different types of audio. I suppose that could be it. 2 different pieces of recording software with 2 different audio setups might work for it. But in any case, you need a virtual audio cable. And then the only other thing you need is a microphone. This is the one that I use, a Samsung Meteor mic. It's a USB condenser mic. It's a portable mic. It's not one of the better ones, but it's not bad. I mean, you can hear the audio. It's good quality. I wouldn't complain about it. For the price, you're getting a good deal. This is Canadian. You know, it's less than $100 Canadian, and that's why I got it. It was a good price, and I figured if it sucked, I'd buy something better, but it works out pretty good for me. Blue Yeti is much more popular. This is the common price. It normally sells for about $150 Canadian. This is an extremely good sale. I've been thinking of buying a Blue Yeti, but honestly, my Samsung's working well enough for now. If you do have any problems setting up OBS, you can go on YouTube again, just Google OBS, and you can see how to stream games, how to record games, how to stream anything, streaming in Twitch, how to record Minecraft, how to set up and configure for streaming and recording. So a ton of tutorials on OBS as well as VST Host can be found on YouTube. So I hope that answers the question on how I record videos. It may not be the best setup. I could potentially do better with, a better microphone or better computer or better whatever. But really, as far as I'm concerned, if you have OBS, you have a microphone. I even used a headset mic for a while. And then you have, VST Host or Adobe Audition, get some plugins. You can make high quality videos for YouTube. So I hope that answered your question, Viking Ghost. Thanks for asking it. Anyone has any more questions, feel free to ask and I'll do my best to answer them. But for now, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.